War Eagle War Report family, I am your host, C Dub. Auburn has a new head football coach. So what needs to happen over the next couple of weeks leading up to the early signing day period? Also, we had a lot of excitement this past weekend as it pertains to conference championships. Who are your four teams in the college football playoff? We discussed that and more in the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
Everyone, War Eagle, happy Sunday. I am joined by Ike Jones and B. Will. You are watching the latest and greatest Weekend Tailgate brought to you by Athletic Architects. Guys, if you are a student athlete, related to a student athlete, or just trying to get your LLC off the ground, please be sure to visit buildthehouse.com. Shout out to Athletic Architects for supporting our show, being a sponsor of the War Report. We appreciate those guys very much. We thank you guys for hanging out with us. And you're here because you're supporting us as well. While you're supporting us, share this content, guys, on social media. If you have a social media account on Facebook or Twitter, also smash the like button and subscribe, guys. Subscribe to our channel. And you need to become a patron as well. I can tell you why you need to do it and how you need to do that.
Really simply, it's easy. Click the join button right now below there, and you can decide what level membership that you want to be able to have. $3.99 gets you to a place where you're a decent human being and you are a productive member of society. $5.99 puts you in the elite group of special assassins that allows you to kill any stupid arguments made by Bama fans all over the internet, because we equip you with arrows that are precise and allow you to make logical arguments that do not reside in the minds of people in Tuscaloosa. So $5.99 per month gets you to that place. And, you have a good time breaking down film, all that great stuff with us. You can chat with us live. We got some more stuff that we're trying to do for you all who are members coming up real soon. I know I like to give you like this vague stuff that's just kind of out there and then bam, and jump out. Don't worry about it. I got you. If you are a member and you want to maybe gift a membership to someone else so that they can be a part of the greatest online community that ever existed in the history of, of Hugh Freeze's internet, then you can come on and do that and give somebody else 1 month of free membership. YouTube will go ahead and assign that to someone else, and they can be a part of this community as well. As always, we're going to give away stuff. Let's do the Weagle shirt today. Why not? Let's do this t-shirt. You can put hashtag get your weight up right now in the comments. We'll give this away to somebody. Sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Our guy, Walt Taylor, always providing you guys with the greatness that is War Report merch. You can go ahead and put that in there. We'll do the drawing right around the 1 hour mark. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to be a part of that drawing.
And we're joined by Mike G. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm good.
Good. Mike G, you good?
Yeah.
Normally, I don't care nothing about bowl games and college football playoff stuff because it doesn't have anything to do with Auburn of late. But
you got some things to say.
I've enjoyed the last 24 hours. It's been fun for me. So.
Hold up, Mike. Whose internet? You doing the promo? You said in the history of whose internet?
Hugh Freeze's internet.
We give Al Gore credit for the internet around here.
Nah,
it was actually some scientists at Stanford in the late 70s. I read that.
Yeah, nice. It's Hugh Freeze's internet today, brother.
Let's talk about that a little bit later. Let's deal with some Auburn business right now. It's been much speculation about assistants. That's usually the exciting time when we do see a head coaching change. And Auburn got that a little less than a week ago. Hugh Freeze was announced as Auburn's head coach. And now we've turned our attention to the assistants and who will be joining him on staff. We did discuss that there were a lot of assistants let go last week, and only 3 remain from the previous staff as of now. Let's talk about who has been confirmed as hires. Auburn has hired 2 guys officially who've come over from Liberty, tight ends coach as well as a defensive line coach. Mike G mentioned him on Wednesday. Let's get started with him. Jeremy Garrett, hired as a D-line coach for Auburn. He actually served as Liberty's defensive line coach in 2022. During that time in 2022, Liberty's defense ranked number 1 in FBS in tackles for loss and number 3 nationally in sacks. Also, prior to that, he spent 2 years as an assistant defensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns. One thing interesting to note there, while with the Browns, he worked with the likes of first-team All-Pro defensive end Myles Garrett, Oliver Vernon, and Jadeveon Clowney. And in the 2020 season, his first year with them, they came in 9th in run defense after finishing almost dead last or near the bottom of the NFL the year prior. So interesting NFL experience there. Also interesting of note, he's got his start after being coaching in high school for a while. He got his start as a defensive quality control assistant at Vanderbilt under Derek Mason in 2019. So this is a guy who's has some pretty interesting experience at the collegiate level as well as at the pro level in a short span of time. Also, before we move on and get our thoughts, let's talk about the next hire that was announced. Ben Igamawa. That's my best shot at that.
That was amazing.
Okay.
Sir. Thank you, sir. He's hired as the tight ends coach for Auburn, served as Liberty's tight ends coach from 2019 to 2022, and has been on Ole Miss's staff in some capacity from 2012 to 2018, and actually played football for Hugh Freeze for about 2 seasons. He was there, of course, obviously 4 years, but 2 years that he was there, Hugh Freeze was his head coach. Played at Lambuth University. Guys, thoughts about these hires in terms of, I know we don't know a lot about these guys and we had to do some research once we heard who they are, but thoughts so far in terms of what Hugh Freeze is doing?
It makes a lot of sense to me. I said this on Twitter. People talking about, oh, we need to go get the best person possible for each of these things. How do you know these guys aren't good? And it's when you're trying to go quickly and build a staff, it makes a ton of sense to lean on your network. People who you know you work with well, people who are familiar with your style of doing things, who are familiar with the culture that you're trying to build. It makes it easier for you to go quickly. So, it's not as simple as let me go look up and see who are the top 15 defensive line coaches in the country and go give an offer to all 15 of those guys because we need to land one of those guys to be on our staff. Like, that's not how this works.
Right.
And it's never going to work like that. No matter how much money you feel like Auburn has, throwing a bunch of money at a bunch of coordinators does not guarantee that you build a cohesive staff that works well together. That's not how teams work.
Well,
And
I
it's never
see
worked that way.
I see a lot of people poo-pooing him going out to get guys that he's worked with before, saying, "Oh, didn't we learn from the Boise boys, Harson Bryant, all his people, and look how it turned out." Listen, you have to work with people you trust.
That's
the
bottom line of it.
You have to work with people who share your vision, and that's it. That's why you hire a head coach. So I don't dig this whole we hire a head coach and then we question everybody he hires.
Right.
You hired him, so you got to trust his hires. And I mean, time will tell whether that's good or bad, but the prejudgment is not productive at all. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, and I think too,
especially when you don't know the guys. But go ahead.
Yeah. No. I agree. I think what we've done is we've looked at what happened in the last coaching staff, and now we want to go the complete opposite, and that's just not how it works. That's not.
I mean, that's how every coach does, though. This isn't like limited to guys who come and coach at all. Everybody hires people based upon the network of people that they've worked with to get. And when those people aren't available, or maybe you can upgrade at a spot, but you don't fill your entire staff with people who you've never worked with before. That doesn't make any, like, we have to move too quickly. Tomorrow, guys, the transfer portal is officially open. The sweepstakes for all tomorrow.
Right.
You can't go and try to develop a relationship with new people while you're getting acclimated at a new job and move quickly and be efficient if you're still trying to learn the people on your staff. That's not how that's going to work, man. You can't move fast like that.
I mean, that happened again with Harsin. Look at Derek Mason and Bobo.
And those people were gone after a year.
Yeah. Right. How did that work?
Constantly having arguments about what direction you want to take stuff, infighting behind the scenes, not going to work. You just can't, you can't do that, man. Like, that's just not a prudent way. Nobody who I know, and I know a lot of people who have started businesses, who have taken over as CEOs of companies, who have started nonprofit nobody who I know who starts teams does it any other way than picking up the phone and or text messaging and emailing people who they've already worked with in the past and saying, hey, do you mind coming and working with me? I'm starting XYZ. You leverage their network. And if it's not you, can you give me a recommendation of someone you trust? That's how it works.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Listen, we've been hearing a lot of names. I know for wide receiver, we've heard the name Grant Hurd, who is currently the wide receivers coach at UCF. Maurice Harris, who served in a similar capacity at Liberty, has also been thrown in the mix as well. We've been hearing a whole bunch of names. I've seen some people point out that Crime Dog appears to be heading back to the Plains. So we're hearing a lot of good things. What needs to happen? Ike, you pointed out that the transfer portal opens up tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've already heard that Auburn has already begun to make or try to reach out to some people who are in the portal right now. What needs to happen? Let's just take it this week. Obviously, we know that we want to close strong in terms of the early signing period. In your opinion, gentlemen, what needs to happen this week that moves us closer to building the roster? That's something that Hugh Freeze talked about when he was on ESPN's College Game Day yesterday. He talked about the need to recruit. And we've been hearing a lot of positive things about those guys being on the recruiting trail within the past few days. What are some things that you expect to see this week that gives us closer to building our roster, building coaching staffs? What are some things that you expect to hear?
Well, it's December, right? So Merry Flipsmas. Get to flipping. You know, should be making pancakes every morning. Flipping somebody, right? So they just got to get to work. You know what? I gave the last coaching staff a pass on this first recruiting class. I'm giving this one a pass as well, too. I expect them to go out and get some people, but I just don't think fans should be super disappointed if it's not the most, if he can't go out and flip 15 people on early signing day, man. Like, you know, you start behind the 8 ball. It's always tough. You know, we had all that speculation, Caesar, about when they would announce Hugh Freeze because every day matters.
Yeah.
Now with the early signing period. So I just think fans should temper their expectation. Year one is going to be more about what he can do with the guys that he has to convince guys for next year to come. But the portal, man, like, listen, go into the portal. And I think the portal is going to be more important than high school recruits this year for Hugh Freeze. That's my personal thought on it. I mean, he's still got to get high school recruits. I don't want to make anybody think that that's not important. Right. But, you know, he'll probably have more success in the portal than he will with kids that you just started recruiting, you know, 4 weeks ago when you thought you were getting a job.
Right.
Thoughts, B?
This week, we need to see both coordinators hired. We need to see every position group coach hired because we have major needs. Assuming that did we get a final word on whether or not Christian Robinson was just interviewing for the linebackers spot or if he was actually retained? Was it?
I haven't heard any news.
Yeah, I haven't heard news on that.
Definitive announcements on any of this stuff.
I just know he's still alive. That's
right.
All.
Yeah. So we know Matt Luke's name was floating, but he had genuinely retired. So they were saying Hugh Freeze is going to ask and ask again. Offensive line, linebacker.
Matt Luke turned it down. B.
He turned it down. Okay.
Matt Luke straight up turned it down. Yeah.
Okay. So he really doesn't want to coach anymore. That's interesting.
We
need an offensive line coach. Now, the thing that helps out with any offensive recruit is all you have to say is go look at the tape of what my offenses did when we were humming. And you've got something to show. Unlike Brian Harsin, when he came in, everybody's like, I don't know your name and I don't really know what you do, especially down here. Hugh Freeze has some tape. Go watch my tape. Here's my tape. the wide receiver coach that you mentioned, Grant Hurd at UCF. I looked up his 24/7 profile. So here's his recruits. AJ Brown, who is currently dogging his old team, the Tennessee Titans, for Philly right now in real time in the NFL. Laquan Treadwell. I don't know if he recruited DK Metcalf, but he was his coach when he got there. Ole Miss has had studs at wide receiver in and out the entire time Hugh Freeze was there, including immediately after he left. That's a good get. That's a great get. You need to get him in here. If he's your guy, you need to get him. We understand UCF had a game last night that they lost. So he's done. Go get him. Bring him on campus. This is my guy. Throw that Auburn shirt, hat on him. Put him on the road. Get him on the jet with Freeze and get him getting guys here to keep the guys that we've got and to get another couple guys. So that's got to happen. We've got the tight end guy. Now we need to go full blast after Jelani Cobb. Let's go get him. We need an offensive line coach. Full blast for what's his last name? The guy we wanted to flip from Georgia, but we didn't get him.
The offensive lineman.
Oh, you meant the Jelani Thurman. You said Jelani
Thurman is what you.
Jelani Thurman.
That's what
you're
talking about now.
Yeah. Okay, so both of the Hughes boys. We need them. We need to go get everybody that was kind of looking at us. And there's some. The portal just filled up. I know y'all saw it. I saw Lawrence talk about it. A&M's like 10 of their best 20 recruits over the last 2 years just jumped in the portal. It is hunting season.
We told everybody that was going to happen, though.
Said it. That number one class is a lot to celebrate until it don't matter.
Until you can't play everybody and somebody's mad about their role. And
smoking weed in the locker room.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then getting kicked out teams. And they were saying somebody. I saw actually, if y'all don't listen to on the Auburn Express right now, we're dropping a pod called the Amen Corner with Ike Jones, Paul Meharry from UGA Sports, and KB. He actually runs a Florida fan site, and it was so funny to listen to. They were talking like one of the running backs from A&M jumped in the portal, and somebody like tweeted and quoted his tweet and said, "Oh man, you got that bag, and now you're gonna go to play for who you want to play for." And the guy retweeted it. The player basically endorsed, was like,
Sheesh.
"Yep, come get me. I'm done. I got my bag. I am out of here." Which is amazing, which brings a whole new light to the whole process of NIL, honestly, because now we got a lot to think about. Like, you can't just go give them whatever they want to get here. You got to keep them happy and keep them here. They might be wanting to play you for the transfer portal the whole time. This thing really just got interesting. And Jimbo is the first one burned, and I'm very excited about that. But besides that, what we have to do right now, there's a lot. There's talent not only in the early signing period, not only JUCO signing that they're still in the mix. We've got the transfer portal. It is booming right now, man. And not just people who don't like that they weren't getting. Yeah, there's some guys in there with, I played for 4 years. I'm a graduate transfer. Come get me. There are plenty of those guys. There are guys who have been somewhere for 1 year, 2 year, the top 10 at their position in 2021, the top 10 in their position in 2022, and they are in the transfer portal. We've got a lot of getting to do. All coordinators and position coaches hired within the next 3 days, like worst case, because this portal, man, they're in there tomorrow. They've already been talking to people. Some of this has already been decided. They've already been texting and talking to friends who they went to these camps with when they were in high school, and they're asking questions, and they're finding out where they want to go right now. We are behind the 8 ball in that sense. We have got to get these positions filled. Hugh Freeze can fly and do a lot of recruiting. He's one dude, and we got a lot of dudes to see. There might not be enough time for just him and Caddy to hit every potential recruit. We got to get these positions filled to get these coaches on the road in the next 2 days, honestly.
Yeah, I listen, but temper your expectations.
Right.
I mean, because they are not miracle men. And I mean, if they start pulling in a high profile, I would question the legality of some of the stuff that they're doing. Like, just go out there, recruit hard, try to flip as many guys as you can. But, you know, as far as what we're talking about, fans just need to chill, right? Brian Hart's first class, same thing. I wrote it. I was like, listen, it is what it is. He came in December.
Right.
You know,
but he came in after early signing day.
Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, what he got, like a week? Or a week, 10 days, Hugh Freeze, right? Like, so, I mean, it's just tough, man. These relationships are built over years. They are. So hopefully what Hugh Freeze has is a bunch of guys that he was recruiting to Liberty that had no chance of going to Liberty because it's Liberty.
That's exactly what you're hoping. You're hoping whoever you're bringing in has relationships with guys who are like, but I don't really want to go. I don't want to go to UCF. I don't want to go to Liberty. And then he's at Auburn now, and people are like,
I like how you went straight to UCF.
That's just a little I mean, UCF has got one of the potential coaches. That's the only reason I threw it in there. Okay. But I'm just saying, I don't want to go to Liberty. I don't want to go to whatever. I don't want to go to Tuscaloosa and play with squirrels and stuff like that. I want to come to a school that actually, values humans and stuff like that. So I don't know what in the world is going to happen with all this stuff, but I do know that your best chance of flipping somebody is what you just said. You're in a different situation at a new school, and I want to come play there because they're in the SEC.
Yeah, you'll benefit from all the work you were doing at Liberty at Auburn if you were putting in the work at Liberty.
Yeah.
Right.
Which most people will feel like this. Well, not most people. People who actually know these coaches feel as if they have talent to be able to go out and recruit. So
SS Austin says just announced Jake Thornton as offensive line coach.
Oh man, that's amazing. I have no clue who he is, but
I don't know what it is.
All right,
the floor is yours to
we said they needed to make moves and they're making it. While we're on our live.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna be double duty as hosting the show and Googling.
Jake Thornton enters his second year as offensive line coach at Ole Miss.
He was at Ole Miss most recently.
All right, so more from the Hugh Freeze coaching tree.
Was he a holdover or was he from the Kiffin camp?
Oh, from the Kiffin camp?
I'm looking right now.
I think I know right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep looking. Go ahead.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you coming to Auburn, we'll be taking your O-line coach. So
they can keep you. They can keep Lane Kiffin. I did not want Lane Kiffin. Thank God.
Oh, I'm relieved too because we were going to be ticked off on fourth downs. Anyway, someone's asking War Eagle 501. Do we have a defensive coordinator? Are you guys hearing anything on the coordinator front? I know there was some, we've seen some possible names floated out. We talked about some of them last week. I know B, you mentioned the offensive coordinator.
Yes, he was the current Ole Miss guy. So they just got him from Ole Miss.
Okay. So any news, guys? Do we know of anything? If not, we can move on.
I think we're just waiting on them to call Travis Williams, right?
I don't know for sure if that's what it is. I've heard a lot of names floating out there, but I thought it was Travis because they were waiting until the conference championships were over with. That happened last night, so I expect more Jake Thornton-like announcements coming out here in the next.
It's gonna be a day of announcements for sure.
Listen,
it seems like.
If Hugh Freeze's administrative staff is worth a damn, they've already told him 2:00 every Sunday, check out the War Report so you know what's going on with the Auburn fan base. So Hugh, just in case you see this, Travis Williams should be the defensive coordinator. I'm talking about you made a great decision to keep Cadillac. Best decision to keep Cadillac. Bring in another Auburn guy who's young, who wants it, who wants to be here. Travis wants to be here. He didn't want to leave when all this stuff went down with Stop the Steal and all that stuff. Right. Bring home a guy. I mean, if you're gonna, and I don't like everybody's just like, oh well, experience. We need experience. I'm like, everybody's inexperienced until you have experience.
Right.
Everybody is inexperienced at some point in their coaching career. So if you're gonna cut a corner, bring a hometown guy.
But he has experience now, though.
Right. Yeah.
So
for sure, but I've seen people on social media just saying, "Oh, well, he hasn't done it that long," and that one defense they gave a 45 to Tulane, and
let's pull out the list of defensive coordinators who haven't had a big number put up on them.
Right? Yeah. So I'm just saying. I mean, we hired Steele after he gave up 70 to West Virginia, right? So
right. You can learn at your job and get better. That's always possible.
I'm saying there are guys who are defensive geniuses right now who people put big numbers up on them. Like some days
it just happens.
It happens to the best defensive coordinators in the country. Name the guy that you love so much that has never had a team score a bunch of points on.
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm caping right now for T. Will. Bring our prodigal son home. He's been out there in the world.
So you're saying, so let me make sure I understand you, Mike. All right. I'll never want to misquote you. All right. You're saying no to Derek Mason.
Yes. I'm saying hell no to Derek Mason.
Okay, not just no.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he should stay away. We should have a restraining order on him, like a Lee County restraining order on him. Should not be allowed within 100 miles of Lee County. The way he left.
Okay.
So the way he left, does it have anything to do with on field?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was okay here. I wasn't super impressed with his defense at Oklahoma State either. I mean, they put up some real big numbers. Like Auburn has put some big numbers on them. But, you know, they were ranked in the top 10 at some point this season. So team success seemed to cover some of the sins on defense. But I don't know. I think we should just forget that happened. I mean, and then it led to some other stuff. And it was just like, all right, you know, when an employee leaves and they poop in a bag and leave it on the boss's desk, it's like, okay, so you don't really want to get rehired, right? You just wanted to make a statement. I felt he kind of did that.
Well, he didn't want him. He didn't care about working for Brian Harsin. That's clear.
Yeah, I don't know. So here's what it is.
All right, gentlemen. We will begin to transition in talking about what occurred this weekend on the field as it pertains to conference championships. But guys, you are watching the Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by Athletic Architects. Do us a favor, if you're watching live or on a replay, we need you to do us a favor and share our content on social media so that people can find us. Smash the like button while you're here. And if you're new to our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to us. Let's take a break to acknowledge our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Definite props to all the sponsors of the War Report, and props to those of you who have already taken the initiative to go out there and be awesome human beings. And that is being a part of the War Report as a member. Your monthly contribution to that helps us to continue to do the things that we do and keep you guys supplied with the best Auburn content that exists out here on these interwebs. And we appreciate all of you. $5.99 gets you to patron level. I've got some film review coming for you guys that you're going to love. Well, portion of that you're going to love. I still owe you some Bama film. You know what's crazy? Last year, I didn't do the Iron Bowl film because we had moved on from the Iron Bowl. It was like, oh, there's a bunch of other stuff we'd rather talk about. I'm feeling that again this year, but I have it, at least the offensive stuff. I had already done that before the Hugh Freeze announcement. I might as well go ahead and put that out for you. But I do have some Hugh Freeze footage that I'm trying to get for you guys and some basketball stuff. So $5.99 gets you to patron level to be able to do that. So go ahead and sign up. If you are a member and you want to gift a membership, you can do that right now in the live chat by clicking the gift box. Give away some memberships to some people so that they can get on board with the crew. 1 month on you, courtesy of whatever you got in your bank account for that month. I usually do this at the end, but I do want to go ahead and put a plug in for the Auburn Express. If you guys aren't listening to the Auburn Express, we are continually adding audio only stuff. So we have stuff that's we're rebroadcasting things from what we do here on YouTube, but we do have conversations that are happening and you can only hear them on podcasts because we want to make sure we're giving you an experience where if you are a War Report member on here, that you're not getting the exact same thing over there. You're getting a little flavor, you know, so we want to make sure we're switching it up for you guys. This broadcast and every one of these live streams that we do, we give away stuff, and we are giving away this Weagle shirt today, courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Our guy Walt Taylor hooking it up for you guys every week. Hashtag get your weight up right now in the live chat to be eligible for this drawing. We will be doing that here in just about 30 minutes, but you have to be present to win. So if you get up and you go to the bathroom when we call your name, tough nuggets. I don't care. You know, don't come back over here trying to cry. Oh, I missed it. You did. You missed it. You're Bama. You're not in.
Hugh Freeze is in there. Tough nuggets.
Tough nuggets. Yeah. I heard that before.
Tough nuggets, huh? They are terrible. All right, guys, we appreciate you for hanging out with us and commenting. If you want to see your comment on our screen and we address it quickly, give us a super chat, but we'll try to get to the other comments as soon as we can. Walt Taylor just super chatted us. says we should expect Colorado to have some good success in the transfer portal and some splash on December signing day.
They might have the best portal day ever.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot of excitement around Colorado at this moment. Got a few other comments here. My World of Sports says thoughts on transfers are possible. He mentions Clemson's DJ. Ike shakes his head no. Nick Evers, Drew Pine. Thoughts on these QBs, gentlemen?
DJ is not it.
I listen. I'm not a big Uwe Ungalale fan.
That was brave.
I'm not a big fan of his abilities to do much of anything. But hey, everybody deserves a second chance, right? I mean, he's had 3 of them, so maybe a second chance at a different school will do him some good. I don't know. I don't know. This smells a lot like what's your boy's name in South Carolina right now?
B. Will's boy.
That's not
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, it smells a lot like Spencer Rattler, where it's like you're just hoping because he had high prospects coming out that he's going to have a transformation under a new coach. I mean, it happened for Bo Nix, and he went out there and did wonderful things. I just think that if he wasn't getting to get done in the ACC against those defenses, he's not going to come to a conference where the defenses are better and improve. I just can't see that being a thing. Nick Evers, I don't know enough about him to care or to know whether or not that's a big thing. Drew Pine, same thing. I don't really pay attention to Notre Dame football unless they're playing somebody who actually has talent, and then they don't do well in those games. So who cares? I don't know. Maybe they're good though. I don't know.
Maybe. Ben Bloodworth, appreciate you, buddy. He says Freeze on College Game Day was a clutch move. Thoughts on how Freeze handled himself and his appearance, guys? Any thoughts?
Hey, listen, it's time to get out there. Right, you can't hide. You cannot hide and recruit. You have to be out in front. And not only getting him on there, but I think it was. People knew this was a highly controversial move. So for ESPN, even like having him on was a smart move. I think. Right. So at the end of the day, Kirk Herbstreit said that Hugh Freeze would be one of his top 4 coaches in the SEC next year.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody prominent at ESPN has high hopes for Hugh Freeze. And I'm just like, well, who's in front of him if he's 4? Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Brian Kelly.
Probably Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Right. If anybody has anybody above those 3, then I think you're being a little ambitious in your thoughts.
Right. Yeah. And there's a big gap between Brian Kelly and Kirby Smart right now, if you ask me. So I would say, it was smart. It was a smart move for both the network and for Auburn to get him out there. You hired the guy, right? So again, like I'm saying, you can't hide him, right? He's got to get out there. He's got to face his head on. He's got to be the face of the program, whether people like it or not.
Right. Guys, we haven't done this in a while, man. It's been a minute, but we got a challenge on our hands, gentlemen. Let's check it out.
Yeah, welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
Jazzy says, let's get back to a location challenge. Where am I? Currently broke down.
Oh,
that sucks.
Tuscaloosa.
Sorry to hear that, Jazzy. What he said?
Tuscaloosa. They probably sabotaged him going through there. Because they mad this morning.
Real mad.
Mm-hmm. Where's he broke down? Are you okay, bro?
Right.
Like, you're watching the war report, but you broke down. I hope you're somewhere safe.
Seriously.
He broke down at home in Missouri. Went to start the truck. Truck wouldn't start. He's at home, Missouri.
All right.
I'm going to go with...
Joe said I-81 in Virginia. You on this highway.
I'm going to go with everybody's favorite state, Texas.
Oh, what a miserable state to be broke down in.
Yeah. It's a lot of highway in Texas to be broken down on. So I'm going to go with Texas.
Lots of Fox Desert out there.
B.
I'm going to say Florida. Florida. It's a big state.
Yeah.
Never know.
Things break down in Florida a lot.
Yeah.
So I agree.
I'm going to go Tennessee.
All right. Let's see. We got our 4 guesses in there. Jazzy, where you at? And
Let us know.
yeah, I'm assuming you've already called a tow truck. So
Cleveland Brown says, do you guys see Auburn in the first 12-team playoff in 2 years?
I think that
it's
if
possible.
Hugh Freeze doesn't make it in 2024, I'll be disappointed. The way things are shaking out now and what the back end of a playoff would have looked like this year, I think he's got a great shot.
Yeah.
To get Auburn in the back half of a 12-team playoff.
10-2 does it.
Right.
Yeah.
9-3 might do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. If we had a 12-team playoff this year, LSU would probably be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think 9-3 will do it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they weigh conference championships. And I mean, can you imagine if Michigan had lost last night? We'd have had two playoff. We'd had only one playoff team that actually won their conference title.
Yeah, I mean, so it's written in the rules now that you win your conference, you're in.
They put it.
What?
Okay,
right.
they give it.
Right. That is one of the stipulations.
Yeah.
Man.
So it's the top four.
How are you going to seed them though?
So the way they do it is the top 4 conference champions are 1 through 4.
Yep.
And they get a bye on the first round. So the conference championship has immense implications because you beat up.
like think about it this year. That means K-State would have played their way into the college football playoff because they won it. And then TCU would have still been in the playoff, but they'd have been like
a lower seed.
Right.
7th. No, the next 2 is supposed to be for
5 and 6 are
group of 5.
Group of 5, right?
6 is for the group of 5. 5 is still a conference champion. So there's Power 5 conference champions, but the top 4 are 1 through 4. So if whoever the lowest ranked conference champion is, it might be K-State, I don't know, or Utah. K-State or Utah probably.
Ooh,
so whichever one of them.
That would be a tough draw.
Yeah,
so
and Utah would have just
like
played themselves
7 or 8.
again. Yeah, so Utah and K-State would have just played themselves, which again, it puts more value on the conference championship game,
right?
Because you really what you're working to do is win your division right now, right? You win your division to get to that game, and then you can play your way in, even if you don't have a great record, right? Like LSU with 3 losses could have won their way into the conference, like even with all that happened, right?
Like
they could have
Purdue was on the edge of getting in the playoff,
right?
Like 8-4.
Clemson would now be in the conference football playoff because they would have been in there and they would have been out of 4 or 5
or somewhere in there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
Thomas Dickey says, any word on a bowl? Now help me out, gentlemen.
We're not going.
We're not going because who would coach?
Well, we're not going. We didn't earn the spot.
We didn't get a spot, right?
Yeah,
we didn't get a spot. But then
I heard that we were going to turn it down, even if we did.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So even if we were eligible, like we'd fired all of the guys who would have coached it.
Yeah, ironically, Hugh Freeze getting blown out by New Mexico State is the thing that disqualified Auburn from getting a bowl.
Yeah, New Mexico State took the last bowl selection spot.
Yeah, like Hugh knew we weren't going to be ready, so he also knew we were getting the job. So he's playing 4D chess while everybody else is just trying to catch up.
Yeah,
that's the narrative I'm going with. Hugh knew this was going to happen. He wanted to give Robbie time to heal up, right? Like, listen, he said, we don't need this bowl game. Look at that bowl.
I'm gonna go with that too. Jazzy says he's in Nebraska.
What are you doing in Nebraska, bro?
3-week vacation, and after 2 days back on the road, we break down. It'll be a week before they look at the truck.
Dang,
oh man,
a week of not being able to pick up loads. That sucks, bro.
And you're stuck in Nebraska.
Loads.
All right. Lauren says, I need to see B. Will rant about these Texas A&M players in the portal.
Hey, man, the rant, that belongs to Mike more than me because he's been beating that table about don't be celebrating these number 1, number 2 classes with not in this current environment, not with NIL, not with the transfer portal. It's not the accomplishment it used to be. It's just not. Bama bleeding talent, too. They fed up over there. I don't know why.
And then you have like the worst season relative to your preseason ranking that I've seen in quite some time. Right? Like, oh my goodness. And people were making fun of us for showing up for the team at the end of the season. Look what happened to A&M.
Yeah.
The players were losing hope. The fans was losing hope. Jimbo's girlfriend was losing hope. Nobody had hope over there. Nobody had hope.
Why you bring that woman into this? She ain't even do
It's
that.
a hopeless situation in College Station. So, like, I don't know how you turn that
It was
around.
a girl named Hope D enrolled from the school. It's just everything wrong.
Anything involving Hope left.
Oh my goodness. They ain't gonna have Christmas at College Station this year. No
Thomas
hope.
Jones, appreciate the super sticker. He says,
Hey.
I agree with the four playoff teams. And we're going to talk about this, but TCU has got to be punished for losing. Ohio State should be 4 just because they didn't want to see a rematch. Y'all,
we're gonna get
we'll
into
get
this.
to that. We're going to get into that. You hold tight, Thomas. Good question, by the way. Ben Bloodworth, appreciate the super chat. He says, do you think Freeze has our 23 New Mexico State game circled?
I doubt it, but
I mean,
I hope he doesn't have this circle. This will say a lot.
Hey,
about,
listen, no, circle all of them. Circle every single Saturday out
not
there
just
with a
this game.
and
Like
punish
I'm
them.
gonna need you not to look over Georgia and Alabama just to circle New Mexico State. That's all.
Circle them all, Hugh. I don't care. Everybody could get it. Yeah.
Cool. Eric's Candle says, hope we get Douglas from Liberty, the wide receiver.
I still have yet to kind of dissect Liberty's roster to see if there's anybody who is like super talented that was on that roster that needs to come on over here. But listen, I'm for competition at every single room. Doesn't matter. I think we have talent in a lot of spaces, but I'm for competition in every place too. I will never stop being excited about new talent coming in to compete for a starting position at Auburn, ever.
Yeah. Guys, let's get into it. Thomas got us started off with the question, but we had a very interesting past few days as it pertains to conference championships. Started on Friday with USC. Did Oklahoma move to USC? Did their coach takes the spirit
Lincoln Riley
of choking?
went, so, yeah.
The choking went with him, right?
It wasn't the choking so much; it's the lack of defense. That's what moved with him.
Yeah, they were playing two-hand touch out there. It was embarrassing.
oh, it was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
Jesus.
It was embarrassing. They should be embarrassed.
They got bullied for 4 quarters, pretty much.
Yeah, he pretty much said, "Okay, now I'm going to go over to the West Coast. My quarterback's going to win the Heisman, and I'm still going to blow it."
Yeah, he's
just like at
show.
Oklahoma.
Lincoln Riley is who he is. Like he just is the guy that will have an amazing quarterback that will do amazing things, put up all these stats, but he will have the softest defense that ever played in college. Like it is bad.
They need to take some of that $95 million they paid him and form a search committee for a defensive coordinator,
and new strength and conditioning staff.
Yeah, or something. And a sports psychologist.
And something because
psychologist. He was a sports psychologist.
Something.
Because that's mental. I mean, I know them boys know how to tackle, right?
Do they?
And they yeah, they do. Listen,
You saw the game, right?
And they went out there and then forgot how to tackle. I mean, just get the worst performance. I mean,
you don't forget how to tackle. Man.
Listen, this was the best 2-week close to any season that I've watched in a long time.
It was chaos.
Rivalry week was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there were so many good close games. Florida State was lit. I mean, all those, South Carolina put the brakes at Clemson. There were a ton of really good games. And then going into conference championship, TCU delivers that.
That was a good game, though.
That was a good game. They laid an egg, but it was a good game because through the first 2 quarters, they looked very uninspired.
Right.
They looked bad.
But listen, that is 2 pattern for TCU this year. They will come out and let teams jump on them, and then they're going to come back and make it interesting. And they just happen to not win this one. They've been doing that all year.
Yeah,
they've been doing this all year.
But that's why I don't like the whole, the people who complain about, y'all don't ever let the little guy into the playoff. You know why? Because every few years they get a chance to show what they can do. And they either blow it at the end of the season. What was LSU was the first 2-loss champion in 2007, right? And I don't know if anybody remembers.
There was a lot of chaos.
But that championship game was looking like it was going to be West Virginia versus Missouri. And both of them blew it at the end of the season. All they had to do was, again, win and you're in. So I believe TCU belongs in this playoff. So I don't want everybody to hear that I'm saying they don't belong. But, man, I mean, come on, bro. 12-0 season. Just go out there and win so there's not a conversation about it.
Right.
Georgia did it. They didn't leave a conversation. You want to be the big boys. At some point, you got to go wire to wire at least once. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they were inside the 1 yard line, and somehow the quarterback that got you like 80 something yards of the 90 you needed to score through the 2-point conversion to get you the ball tied up. You got the ball back, got all the way down inside the 1, and you didn't let him try to sneak it one time in the 2 plays you needed.
Yeah. And let's be clear. On that third down, the running back was in.
Yeah, it did look like he scored. Yeah.
He was in. He was in.
Yeah.
So
like you should the one of those 2 plays should have been a quarterback sneak. Inside the 1, you needed a half a yard, bro. What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Joe,
go ahead.
Joe Kyle says Utah was bigger and meaner than the USC squad. Utah looked SEC like.
They didn't win Florida, put them hands to them. But
And this is why I have. God bless everybody who was just so upset that the War Report personally ran Bo Nix off. I'm glad he had some good success out there in the Pac-12. I know nobody expects me or anybody else to take the Pac-12 seriously when we had a non-bowling team. Wait, did Florida win 6 games?
They won 6 games. They went
6 win team.
They lost to Florida State. Close out the year.
A 6-win team is the Pac-12 champion. A 6-win SEC team is the Pac-12 champion this year. For like the 4th time in 5 years, a mediocre non-division winning SEC team beats the Pac-12's best team. We're not on the same playing field. We've never been on the same playing field.
Yeah, it's not even close. Listen, they have they don't play deep. We
Vanderbilt beat Florida, but Florida beat Utah. This is what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. We gave USC's defense a lot of hell, but let's be honest. Nobody in that conference plays defense.
No.
They got 3 quarterbacks
except
who are
Utah.
all in the Heisman discussion. 3.
And that's my beef with just Lincoln Riley stuff. If USC had a prolific quarterback and it wasn't Lincoln Riley, if Helton was still there and he put up yards, and anybody could put up yards out there, let's be clear here, then they wouldn't have gotten the Heisman. Lincoln Riley come and all of a sudden, it must be a Heisman. Yeah, these numbers are meaningless though. If Caleb Williams was going to win it, if he's going to be at the ceremony, Bo Nix should be at the ceremony. The running back from K-State should be at the ceremony. Put all of them at the ceremony then, because it means nothing coming out there from the Pac-12.
Nothing, dude. They don't play no. And then, what they said, we used to say back in the day, Caesar, everybody won't be gangster until a gangster pull up, right?
Absolutely.
Then the SEC pull up. Now you got to play a real defense, and all of a sudden, all them Heisman numbers don't look like nothing.
We said that though at the beginning of the year. We was like, now Bo is going to go on and look amazing. Just remember what happened when he played a legit defense.
Yeah, well, again, detractors will say that was his first game of the year, and they got better as the year went on. I don't want to hear that.
Has played them for years.
As if everybody else wouldn't have got, Georgia wouldn't have gotten better as the year went on. So if they played later in the year, Bo would have been more ready for a more prepared Georgia. You don't get better in a bubble, people. Like, that's not how it works. Bo doesn't get to get better and Oregon gets better while Georgia just stays where they are.
Right. The dominant champions come out like champions week 1, and they prove that, you are weak and we are strong, and there's nothing you can do about it all day long, right? Like, they just don't
want to talk about that dude anymore, man, because everybody don't swear we hate him.
But the pack in general, like I said, the idea that 3 quarterbacks in that conference were in the Heisman discussion at some point this season, to me, points to you don't play defense over there. So I don't want to hear nothing about when was the last time a Pac-12 team made the playoff? Was it 2014 Oregon?
It was Oregon.
No. It was Washington in 2016. They lost to Bama.
Bama scrubbed them up.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean, listen. So it's been a strong 7 years since one of their teams made the playoffs. And I don't think they own a playoff win, right?
No,
they own one. No, they own one.
No, they beat Florida State. Did they?
Yeah. They got to the championship.
Oregon,
it was Ohio State.
They beat Florida State.
Yeah, year 1. Okay, so that was a 1.
And then Ohio State, and what was the dude's name? The running back they had, it was ridiculous. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Ran all over them. Oh my goodness. That was a beatdown.
Yeah.
That was a beatdown. You know, a funny story about that real quick before we move on. So at the time, I was dating this girl who was an Oregon grad. And me and Caesar and I had just gone out the year before to watch Auburn play in the national title game. And I was trying to explain to her like how much this means to us. Like we may never get this chance again in our lifetime. So I have to go. So we paid ridiculous prices for tickets. The fellas flew out to Phoenix and we drove to Pasadena, and then our world was shattered. Right. So the next year, Oregon makes it. And she was like, so you get to go watch your team play, and we're not going to go watch mine. And I was like, I'm not sure if you care that much. But we had a ticket hookup for that game through Deontay. But like, I was like, oh, well, tickets are going to be about $2,500 a pop. Hotel's going to be another like $3,000. And I got to stop there. She's like, that's all right. We can watch it at home. So the game's on. And midway through the second quarter, I look over to her, knocked out, sleeping. I was like, that's why we're not paying $10,000 to watch your team get scrubbed up. Oregon frauds. Their fans are frauds. It's obvious why that relationship didn't work out. She was fraud. The whole situation was fraudulent.
She was really bad. Fraudulent, though.
Yeah, she was fraudulent. Yeah. Fraud Oregon fan.
All right. Anyway,
a lot of past hurt that came out there. Sorry.
Therapy. All right. Reggie says Mike found a young lady that did.
I can't. My chest hurts this morning. I can't laugh.
Reggie, you're
I'm laughing on this side.
You are flagrant, young man. All right, wow. Gentlemen, let's talk about the playoff picture. Let's talk about the playoff picture.
R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, Lawrence. R.I.P.
Let's talk about the playoff picture. So we know who's in. Georgia's 1, Michigan 2. But the big conversation is about who's 3 and 4. Now, we had a person who commented earlier saying that TCU should be punished for losing their last game of the season.
Right. And by punished, you mean made to play Georgia in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, again, there's two ways to lose a game. USC showed us how to lose it one way, just get ran off the field. But TCU was actually in that game. Do you punish them by dropping them out of the playoff? Obviously, we think no, they should be the 4th team.
Right.
Who's the third?
I think that they should have been the 3rd team just like they were. Listen,
they made their conference.
They at least made their conference championship, and they didn't get blown out in it. They only have one loss the whole season. It was in the conference championship. No, they're number 3.
Top 10 team.
That they also beat this season.
Right. Yeah. They're number 3, man. Like all of this other stuff, I will get to them later. Never mind.
No. We're saving that. We're saving that.
I would have been all right with either. I think Ohio State really benefited from not having to play another game. They had to play another game, so they just had to chill. Right. Their only loss is to the number 2 team. Which is why they should be 4, in
my opinion.
Right. So, like, I mean, either way, I don't know. I think that first half of the Big 12 title game might have been enough in some people's eyes to drop them to 4. But they made a strong showing. I'm okay with them at 3. I just don't think if we're gonna let one loss non-conference champions get in. And remember, they did this. They did this before with what was it, Penn State in the Big Ten a couple of years ago?
Yep, Ohio State. They put Ohio State in over a Penn State Big Ten champion.
Right. That beat them. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I think they learned from that mistake. TCU belongs in this playoff. Now, I believe they're going to get scrubbed up.
Yes.
But make no mistake, they belong.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, whether you
Two things can be true. Two things can be true.
Yeah, I believe
you deserve to be here, but this is going to be ugly for you. Your future does not look bright.
Yeah, but you're about to learn about the talent gap in recruiting, in about 4 weeks. So I think they belong. I think that the resume spoke for itself, and there was no way short of getting blown out like 50-3 or 49-3 or something like that. It was the only case you could make for dropping them completely out of the playoff.
I am Hop says looks like offensive line coach is Jake Thorne from Ole Miss. Yeah, we definitely, I think we kind of looked him up a little bit earlier. Looks like that is being confirmed. Reggie says Saban politicking about Bama having good losses. Ike is going to cover that in depth.
Oh man,
in depth. Hold on, Reggie. You're going to get your money's worth in just a few. Joe Kyle says, are Michigan and Ohio State fraudulent? 3-team conference with Penn State.
I think the Big Ten is the second best conference in the country. I think they have some really solid teams. I still think there's a gap at the top of the SEC and the top of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I agree.
Michigan might be one of the biggest frauds in the history of this playoff.
I don't know about that.
I give them next to zero chance versus Georgia.
I give everybody next to
but
zero
see, that's
chance
the thing.
versus Georgia.
Who has a chance versus Georgia?
Yeah,
What's the team that you feel like can compete with Georgia right now?
And their schedule was Charmin soft. Michigan had one of the softest schedules I've seen. That somebody put up a graphic where they talked about their opponent record. And I don't quote me on this one, but I thought I remembered seeing there were a couple of Big Ten teams who had, like, again, their opponent records were sub 500. So the people they beat, right?
I mean, the only people worth of note that they beat was what, Penn State and Ohio State? Because Michigan State took
Ohio
State. I'm sorry, Penn State and Ohio State. Everyone else, because Michigan State took it was what, 5-7 this year?
Right.
They were not good this year. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Like I'm not big on Michigan. I think that's probably our title game.
Michigan and Georgia.
Yeah, I think
that's gonna be some 1982 football right there, boy.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just giving I mean, Georgia's just out here not letting people score or anything. Right? I mean,
gave up quite a few points to LSU in the second half.
They did, but LSU was letting them go behind the back off the scoreboard into the end zone touchdown. They were doing all kind of crazy stuff for touchdowns in that game. So the bounce off the helmet I thought was special. That was special. I mean, their players made some heads up plays in that game.
Literally.
Right. So I mean, Georgia's your national champion. I mean, the only way Michigan beats Georgia if Georgia just has that inexplicable bad day right at the end of the season. And it can happen.
Or injury.
Right. Or injury. But Stetson Bennett is a baller.
He is.
Yeah, I heard somebody
arrogant,
call him
but he's a baller.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
At
I
this point,
think he earned the right to kind of feel himself, man.
I'm not bad at football either.
Yeah.
Like my team is good. I'm kind of good. You know, we good. That's pretty much what he said. Yeah. Stetson Bennett.
Still doing the mic drop in 2022.
No, I'm telling you.
You know. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think we're almost right here, Ike. Should we just Reggie says Jalen Carter picking up the LSU?
Bro, he picked that dude up like a proud father, man. He had him in his arms, like, look at my boy.
And then put him down gently. You go on play now. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I think we're almost at that time where we need to discuss a certain coach politicking. At the end of the TCU Kansas State matchup, it was atrocious.
Yeah.
More on that. Like, what you about to say, Mike?
No. I don't want to take any thunder away from Ike on this one. So are we doing the drawing?
Yes, do the drawing. Let's just get to the drawing.
I'll take thunder away from Ike on this one.
Let's just get to the drawing. And speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, we are giving away a Weagle War Damn. That is right. Right. Mm-hmm. We're giving away this T-shirt here, courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Drop the hashtag you see up there. Get your weight up if you want to enter the win. Hopefully you've done it by now because we're getting ready to draw.
It's that time. 80 people have entered. One person will win, courtesy of our guy, Walt Taylor, GWT2 Consulting Services. Somebody's winning a shirt, and that is Patrick R.
Messing with you, Riley. They thought it was you for a minute. Patrick R., are you here, sir? Let us know. Please respond, guys. Be on the lookout for that. Any thoughts before we get into our segment, ladies and gentlemen?
The right four teams got in.
Yeah.
The right 4 teams got in.
Let me clarify because I want Ike to set it on fire.
No,
I got some of y'all riled up yesterday.
No, I'm gonna let you clarify after I say my piece. Then you can say whatever you want to. Because
well, after that, you gonna burn it down. You go ahead.
Well, hold on. Before we do any of that, Ike, before you go,
What did we see?
Hey,
Okay.
all right.
I'm in on the big screen.
I'm getting out the way. It's ISO ball. We the Brooklyn Nets. Get out the way.
Okay, Kobe.
All right.
Exhale. Woosah.
Nicholas.
Oh,
Sir.
well, hold up.
Oh,
Patrick,
Hey,
email us business@thewarreport. We need your shirt size as well as your physical mailing address. Congratulations, my good sir. I just passed the rock back to Ike, and we're all 3 of us on the side, letting him just dribble. You got
all
it.
right. Nick Saban, sir. You're a fabulous coach. You really are. I
Best to
think
ever do
you
it.
are one of the best coaches, if not the best coach to ever coach college football. We'll get to you in just a second. I want to start actually with your players in the locker room begging for someone to put them into the playoff
poverty program.
Remind me if I'm mistaken. Did Alabama play Tennessee this year?
Yes.
They did.
What did they win or lose that game?
They lost.
It's 52-49.
Did Alabama play LSU this year?
Yes.
They did.
Okay.
Did.
Did they win
Yeah,
or lose that game?
Yeah, they lost.
They lost that one too, I think.
So you lost 2 games. If you won either one of them, you would have had your opportunity to play. So this is what happens every year. And this isn't the first year we've been playing college football. What happens every year is you play your entire schedule and you have an opportunity to win or lose games. And if you don't do the winning thing, then you don't get the chance to play in the college football playoff. Because again, this is not the first year that we've done this. So making a stupid argument, Oliver Twist, please, sir, can I have some more face? Nick Saban talking about, well, if you look at how we've been playing lately, nobody cares what you did lately, sir.
Whole body of work.
Nobody cares because you lost regular season games and then didn't get a chance to play in your now, had you made it to the conference championship game and maybe won there, maybe we could have a different conversation. But you talking about what some future bets may be against teams, what does that have to do with anything? Again, we've already mentioned 2 games you lost. Were you favored in either of those games? The answer is both. So you being potentially favored by Vegas against some teams has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you lost the games.
There was a 22-point spread in one of those games, right?
Correct. So would we be favored by? Who cares? You know what we care about? Whether you won or lost the games up until this point, you lost.
Favor these nuts. Favor.
It's the dumbest argument in the world. Like, why? I get it. Somebody asked you a question, you had to answer the question. The correct answer to that question is we had our opportunity, and if they see fit to put us in there, we'd be welcome to it. But all this other stuff you're doing, stupid.
But Ike, Bryce was unhealthy.
Question for everybody in the audience as well.
Tata didn't play.
Yeah,
he pulled out his Tata didn't play.
Question for everybody who is out there: did or did not the guy who was absolutely shredding the Bama defense in Texas get hurt and not play the last half of that game? Did that happen or not? So the quarterback being unhealthy figures into whether or not you should have won or lost games now. That matters now all of a sudden, but it didn't matter in Texas when you played them. It's a dumb argument, and anyone trying to make that argument, yes, I'm looking at you, Bama fans on Twitter, I'm sorry, you're not stupid. I don't like calling people stupid. I apologize. Your argument, though, is nonsensical. You're not making a sound argument when you start trying to make up scenarios in which, well, if we had wore our socks on the opposite feet maybe that day, then you don't never know. Shut up, bro. Shut up. This is dumb, man. Like, I don't even want to hear this stupid. You lost 2 games. You don't belong. The teams in front, as a matter of fact, the fact that you're ranked above Tennessee when they beat you and have an equivalent record is stupid. I don't care who would win a potential. It doesn't matter. You lost to them. And you have the same record. Well, what about the margin of victory in the games in which what about the margin of victory in the game you played against them? If I'm not mistaken, if we want to talk margin of victories, you have a common opponent this year in which both of you beat. The team that's in the playoff beat that team by more points than you did, and the quarterback was healthy in their game.
Yep.
You don't deserve it.
Ooh.
You didn't play well.
Yeah, I know. That point
and you don't deserve it. I don't want to talk anything else other than what happens in deserving, and you didn't deserve it. Period.
Period. With a T on the end.
Period, Pooh.
Yeah. Love it.
That was
he encapsulated that perfectly. I don't want the screen. I don't want the big screen. But I'll tell you what. I got a message from my guy, Funny Man. I don't know if he's going to watch this, but he was one of the worst bammers on Twitter the last 48 hours. He was campaigning.
No.
He was campaigning.
Funny Man has been insufferable for
the last month.
Few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, this whole argument that Bama fans were making, guys, about we lost 2 games by less than 8 points or something. And I tweeted this out. I'll say it again on the show. If close losses matter, then so do your struggle wins. And you beat Texas A&M by 4 points. The worst team in our league. Now, I don't care who was hurt. Auburn beat that team.
Exactly.
Give me a break. Like, they just have to decide what criteria matters.
No, the only thing they have to decide is to stop crying. Forget criteria. Stop crying.
Yeah. It was just embarrassing.
Babies, bro.
It was just embarrassing. And then
stupid.
And then the backtrack of, like, because there were so many Bama fans after the Tennessee game that have proclaimed loudly, it doesn't matter, we're still getting in anyway. The College Football Playoff Committee sent you a sound rebuke, Bama fan who said
if they had maybe beat LSU, they might have gotten in, but you didn't. You had your shot.
But you didn't win that game. And they said a 2-loss Bama is pretty good, but not good enough. So for the first year since the inception of the playoff, you, sirs and madams, can have a seat.
It happened another year.
2019.
2019?
Yeah, LSU year.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's the second time. It doesn't happen often. You've made almost all of them. Have a seat this year and let somebody else have their day in the sun.
And shut up.
Like, listen, man, this whole thing about Ohio State did what they had to do.
Look, they're going to sit there and watch those playoff games. And the minute somebody gets blown out, they're going to be like, see, that could have been us. And we could have gave y'all a better.
That could have been us.
Care.
Right.
You could have won the game against Tennessee.
That could have been us.
You could have won the game against LSU. You could have done a whole bunch of stuff. You could have chosen to not be inbred fools. I don't know. I don't make these decisions. You decided to do that. I don't know what you want to do with your life.
I want to be clear about this as well, too, because I saw this argument being made a lot. Is that?
Go ahead, Mike.
I saw his argument being made a lot on Twitter from Bama fans about essentially acting like if y'all don't want us to, if y'all scared, just say you scared, right? I see this a lot. It was getting a lot of likes and retweets, and people were copycatting the tweet. I don't think it's about anybody being scared.
No.
Right? It's about people wanting to see a team that didn't do enough to get in sit on the sideline. And so we're clear. I do believe Bama has enough talent that if they got in, could they win it all? Sure.
No, they couldn't.
I
mean, can Bryce, Young have a day of days versus Georgia?
But here's the thing. Bama fans thought this team wasn't good. They complained from the very first game of the season against Texas up until halftime of the Iron Bowl about how terrible this team was, about how bad their coordinators were, about the defense not being able to stop nobody, about Bryce Young being a fraudulent Heisman Trophy guy, about how their wide receivers weren't that good, about how their offensive line couldn't block. But today and yesterday, you're trying to sell me you think they're one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Yeah.
But for 12 weeks, you told anybody who would listen how terrible this team was. For 12 weeks, you did that. And now all of a sudden, but you don't deserve nothing. You deserve nothing. And what you get, nothing. Yeah. Exactly what you deserved.
Yeah. For about 75% of the season, they've been campaigning to send Bill O'Brien to Guantanamo for questioning about why he's so bad as a coordinator.
And Auburn for a few weeks.
Right. Yeah. And I'm telling you, and so that's the guy you want to get into the playoff with his poor offense.
That's your
versus
team?
this. Right. Come on, man.
Pete Golding's worst defensive coordinator we ever had. I can't believe this team. They can't top anybody. They can't. Yeah. But for one of the 4 best teams in the country, though. Shut up, bro.
By your own admission, you did not deserve to get into this playoff. You didn't. Right. So has a 2-loss team made it yet? No 2-loss team has made it.
No.
So of course they think
Auburn was really close in
2017.
2017. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. If they had won that SEC championship game, they would have been in.
They would have been in for sure.
As a 2-loss team. So I don't know, man. I'm just my mute button was hot on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, you guys are stupid.
I wasn't muting anybody. I was
can you be this whiny? Can you be this whiny about not making the playoffs? For the first, only the second time in 9 years.
Yes, they can. And I was laughing at every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm sorry, the national pundits that were caping for Bama were killing me too.
Not one of them had a good point. I have not heard a single good point for why Bama should be, except for if you want to go with the B. Will theory of let them in so they can get embarrassed.
Yeah. The eye test tells me that they're one of the best 4 teams right now.
He wasn't looking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the actual result of the game tells me they ain't doing enough to get in.
Your eyes must have been closed during the games they lost. Is my only point.
Right. And
the games they barely won.
Well, that's Bama bias, though. Right? Their Bama bias only lets them see like you said, the close losses and the Heisman Trophy returning quarterback and the Nick Saban team and all that stuff. But they didn't the struggle wins.
Brandy said it perfectly. We wouldn't be having this conversation if TCU's name was Oklahoma. And I added to that, or if they were Texas. If it wasn't TCU on that jersey and it had been Texas or Oklahoma, this conversation we don't have it because the brand itself is big enough for people to shut up.
Right.
TCU earned it on the field, but somehow it only matters that their name is TCU. And who wants to see TCU play? A bunch of TCU fans.
Right. That's the bias I'm talking about, though. Right? Yeah. That's the exact bias I'm talking about. You got Bama bias because you're so used to them winning. When they play a few decent games at the end of the year, it's like, oh, the eye test tells me. The eye test tells you nothing because you're blind.
And then he said, we won our last 3 games.
Oh, hey.
Somebody run back for me who those 3 teams were, because one of them was us, who was not a good team.
Struggle bus.
The game before that was a cupcake game.
Austin P.
Who was the game before that?
Austin P.
No, before
Austin P.
Who was the game before that? Because it must be somebody who was potentially going to win a national title, the way that you're talking about how they're playing well of late.
Right.
Has to be somebody. Please tell me you're about to name one of the best 15 teams in the country.
Was it Ole Miss?
Who was that team?
I think it may have been. Was it?
Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
No, I went Ole Miss.
Yeah. It better not be.
No.
Oh, it was Ole Miss. It was Ole Miss. It was Ole Miss.
Ole
Miss was Ole Miss, Austin P, and Auburn.
So Ole Miss.
Your best wins are against 8-4 teams.
Ole Miss is the team you're trying to brag was the start of the rejuvenation of the Bama program. Really? Ole Miss, the team that lost to Mississippi State a couple of weeks after.
Lost their last 4.
Oh, that's the okay.
Lost their last 4, right?
Okay, but we're playing better of late, guys. We're playing.
Now, okay, hold on, wait. Let me just make something clear.
We were playing better our last 4 games. Who cares?
Saban absolutely has the right to get on TV and campaign for his team.
No one's mad at that.
Right. But his argument for why they should be in
Correct.
was bad.
Campaign all you want to.
Yeah.
Make a good argument, though. The
Yeah,
problem is there's no good argument
You
that
can't make
exists.
one. Yeah.
So you should
can't
just
make
probably
one.
stop.
It would have sounded like what you said. Like, listen, and, we feel like we're a good team, and given the chance, I feel like we could compete in this playoff if they decide to let us in.
I wouldn't have been mad if he said that, because that's what you're supposed to say as the coach to make.
Right.
But don't be out here talking about would we be favored to win all of them? You'd be favored to beat a bunch of teams, but guess what? That doesn't guarantee you would win. And when you had the opportunity to win, you didn't.
I saw Bama fans say, "Look how low the ratings for the playoffs will be this year." They think they drive the ratings of college football. Did you guys see
Michigan and Ohio State are both in the playoff.
Right. Did you guys see
with Georgia?
What's that Twitter
3 of the
account
biggest
being?
brands in college football are all in the playoff, and now all of a sudden, because Bama fans won't be tuned in, which is a lie, because you're all gonna watch pettily.
They're gonna hate watch. They're gonna hate watch.
Yeah.
Stop it.
B, what's that Twitter account that like takes message board posts and like puts
Message board geniuses.
Oh yeah, okay. Did you see the one from the Bama fan that was making an argument for why they should secede from the SEC? And like,
no,
and he was like, "Oh man, it was epic." And he was like, "Listen, what advantage do we have to stay in the SEC besides money?" And I was like, "Wait, let's not just say besides money, like that's a small thing. Besides the $100 million every year you're gonna get after Oklahoma and Texas join the conference, okay, that's a small thing, but I digress." And then he went on a long rant about brand and ratings and essentially they're 2 steps up from Notre Dame. So they don't really need the SEC. They're carrying the conference. Like, oh my, it was one of the worst things I've ever read. And I was like, this guy is full on delusional. But that has been their fans this season. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, for a team that is competing for a national title every year, accepting this year that this wasn't going to be the year seemed to be a hard task for a lot of them. But I just, man, God, I don't know. The national pundits, Shannon Sharp was on that whole eye test
He's
train.
been caping. He's been caping.
Yeah.
He's been caping for Bama.
It's been
though.
so
Him
many
and
of them.
Stephen A. few of those guys have been caping. They cape for Bama.
But see, this is the problem when the sport and the actual outcomes of who gets to play who are tied to media. That's been the worst thing about college football since the AP gets to decide the national champion and the AP poll goes into the BCS formula. All that is stupid. We should never leave this up to humans. Should never leave it up to humans. Every other sport that makes sense, here's what happens, here's how you get in, here's who you play, here's all that stuff. Go play. Right. Before the first ball is kicked off, exactly how you get into the NFL playoffs, how you get to the Super Bowl, exactly how to do it. Leaving these things up to people means that agendas are automatically involved. Automatically. So if you're going to say, well, who do we want to see? 2016 was the most disgusting display of it. When Penn State was a one-loss team that won. Wait, were they a 2-loss team or 1-loss team? I don't want to make it up. I think they were just a 1-loss team. They won the Big Ten. They beat Michigan. They beat Ohio State. They won their conference, and they got skipped because Ohio State's only loss was to Penn State. There was no defense for it. Of course, every time you interview somebody from the committee, right, it's, well, we figured that we really looked at this. It was something different every year. You ask them how the number 4 got in. Every year it was something different. It doesn't matter because what they have to do internally is we need to pick the games that people are going to want to watch the most. Who's going to pay these exorbitant prices for these tickets that we're going to put out there? Whoever will do it, that's who we're putting these games.
They had lost 2 games and Ohio State had only lost 1.
Right. Okay, there we go. So they were a 2-loss conference champion, but the committee had railed on about how conference championships mattered so much until Ohio State wasn't the conference champion.
Exactly.
Right. So we know that these things are biased, and it's been the dumbest thing about this sport for a very long time. It's why I prefer the NFL
I'm not
in
mistaken,
some ways.
Didn't Nick Saban make a big deal about if you don't win your conference championship, you shouldn't be able to get in that year?
He did.
He probably did.
I feel like that was a thing. I'm gonna see if I can go back. If I
let me Google.
Somebody better pray I don't find that clip.
He said it.
You pray I don't find a clip or a quote of Nick Saban saying that. Please, if you out there, just go ahead and intercede to whoever you pray to that Ike Jones does not find a clip of him saying that. Just do
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Said it to that a few moments later. No, I promise, man, we should be in this playoff. We did enough.
But it was really sad watching Nick Saban stump like that. It was sad because I knew for once this is what's okay. Let me set this up for y'all. B. Will wanted Bama in at number 4.
B. Will and B. Will alone.
Yeah.
Clear.
That's it. I did not want them at number 3. I wanted them to see Georgia. Now, I've mentioned this before. I got a group chat with my cousin, Bama fan, and a mutual friend of ours, Bama. For 10 years, we talk football. So I've had to live through them talking mad trash. Now, the comeback was fun. It was a lot of fun talking to them at comeback. It was a lot of fun. The other years, not so much. 2013, I'm telling you, man, they were so hurt. Y'all know how much it hurt Bama. We don't have to go through that. This year, for the last 2 years, they have been telling me, man, Saban's slipping, man. He got to get it together, man. It's Pete Golden, man. I don't know what he got on Saban, man. But, man, he need to go ahead and get rid of him. This Bill O'Brien, a bum. Need to get rid of him. They were always in love with Bryce Young. They love Bryce Young, all right? These are fans that feel adamantly that if Jamison Williams and John Mechie had been healthy last year at the national championship game, that Bama would have won, okay? This season is the first time I've ever heard them concede defeat to any team. In 2017, it was, man, they better not mess up and let us back in this thing. I'm telling you, man, we was just injured on defense. We gonna make some noise. Okay. They started messaging me watching the TCU game because they had the same agenda that everybody else had. Y'all saw that BS checkboard for Bama to get in thing that they put up on ESPN watching the games? Or it might have been Fox, whatever. Well, this got to happen. This got to happen. This got to happen.
They checked all the boxes and still didn't make it.
That is funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
They called me. They hit me up around the TCU game. They were like, man, TCU trash, man. We finna get in this thing. I was like, oh, okay. All this excitement until Georgia started tearing a hole in LSU. Man, really, man, TCU, they deserve to be in that thing. I am not lying to you. They are scared to death of Georgia. No matter what any of them says about getting in, they are scared that Saban, the sun is setting on them. They are scared that Kirby is the new king of college football. And they are scared to have to put this team that they complained about all season in the same ways I outlined on the field against this Georgia team. They are terrified. Terrified. The conversation swiftly went from TCU ain't looked that good to, man, nah, man, we don't even need to. I mean, man, just let Kirby have this one right here, man, and then we'll be back up. No, that ain't what you was just saying 6 hours ago, buddy. I know what's going on here. They're terrified. The visual of Kirby, like last year, the national championship game, it was kind of dicey at first. Like Bama hung in there, even though they didn't have the wide receivers, right? And then Stetson threw that pick, and it was like, oh man, are they about to blow it? Gathered themselves, picked themselves up. Georgia goes on to win it. I think that ass whooping would be so decisive this time. I think it would have Bama fans crying in the streets.
I'm not buying it.
Because for the first time, and this is what's disappointing me about a lot of non-Bama fans is I don't want to let them in because anything can happen. This ain't that team. We have seen this Bama team for the last 2 years look only as good as they are. Really, for the last year, this last season, they surprised me in the SEC championship game last year. They did. But they had an outstanding wide receiver to take some pressure off of the rest of their offense. They don't have that this year, and they have been without it every game, and they have looked human in every game they played. They have looked beatable. I can't tell you the last time I was like, man, I don't know, this Bama team looks scary. It's been years. Nobody's scared of Bama anymore, man. They are not the same team. They are not these juggernauts. Nick Saban doesn't have this secret juice. He is not some holy coach walking among us. He's just a dude, man. Begging for NIL money from his fan base, begging for somebody to look into Texas A&M, begging to get a spot in the playoff. It's over, man. The dynasty is over.
This is a beautiful rant, but I'm still not hearing why putting Bama at 4 is better than them not making it at all. So we'll have to hear about how they made it.
No,
I'm
here's
still
a
out here
deflection, right? Here's a deflection because they already started. They were like, man, we gonna get in K-State. We might lose that game because Bryce gonna sit and Will gonna sit. They already got the excuses lined up for losing to K-State. Already. It's already in the slow cooker right now, and they're gonna pull it out in about 4 weeks about how they didn't have it. It wasn't gonna even matter. It wasn't a playoff. They can keep ducking strays, but to actually get their ass handed to them, a la LSU last night, a la Ohio State a week ago, to cement it in stone for that Kirby, Georgia footprint to be in their ass. Like that's different. Like right now, they haven't been embarrassed on the field versus anybody. The same trash they talking. Well, close losses. Or last year, if Jameson wasn't hurt, no. But have they eaten it though? Like 2018 Clemson.
I am fine with the death by 1,000 paper cuts. I don't care.
Nah. I want them to just get buried in like fatality, finishing move, and then put them in the dirt, and then come back and Georgia pee on the grave. Like I want full blown bury.
You just want to be embarrassed.
Some things I don't need to see to know that it would be satisfying, right? Like,
no, I need it.
I just know that would be satisfying. I mean, I think it's more satisfying because of the amount of fans who were so confident they were going to make the playoff. For them to not make it and to see all the backtracking was extra satisfying. Like, I mean,
it was great because they've been crying since about 7 o'clock last night about man, they're gonna put us in there, and then today all of them had to sit there, man. But
after Tennessee, they declared we're gonna be in anyway. Yeah. And then the closer it got to championship week, reality started to set in about their situation. Wait, they might actually keep TCU in no matter what. Ohio State, after that last poll came out and Ohio State was over Bama, the crying started because there were no games left for them to play. And they knew that the only way that Ohio State could get jumped by Bama to get into that 4 spot would be if this committee is completely crooked. That's it. No games left to play. So you can't do anything. They would have to say, hey, we feel like Bama's going to be better rested over these next 2 weeks, so we're going to jump them. Like, I don't even know what argument you would make. But they were so confident 4 or 5 weeks ago that they were going to get in the playoff anyway because of the Bama
bias
or bias or whatever you want to call it. Right, yeah. And this was a stunning rebuke. It was amazing for it to come, and no fanfare around it. I woke up this morning, just kind of checked my phone. It was like the 4 are set. And beside the few national pundits that were caping, most people, reasonable people who cover college football, were just like, this outcome changes nothing about who the 4 should be. And having to eat that humble pie, and they were pre-bragging about how they were going to be the worst people on Twitter, like they're not already the worst already. If Bama makes it in, give me a break. You get to watch at home like everybody else this year.
That would have been a sound investment. That investment on the short term, the short term joy, followed up by the severity of that ass whooping. It just would have.
Yeah. See, I'm not as confident about this theoretical ass whooping that you're talking about. Like, because if you're telling me that Nick Saban can't pull something out of his hat for 2 games, I'm telling you I'm not confident. That's why I don't want to see it.
But he was gonna pull it out. He would have pulled it out in Baton Rouge, would he not?
No, I don't know, man. Listen,
okay.
I didn't think
they ain't that. See, you got it too. You got the bias. You keep thinking there's some magic over there. It's not, man. They had better players than everybody. They had better players than everybody by a wide margin. Okay.
Why do you need to see this game to know that they're not good enough? I don't need to see it.
I know they're not good enough. I want to see it.
He wants
the embarrassment. I need that. You want what I saw from Jimbo this year? I didn't need to see this year to know that Jimbo was a fraud. Y'all needed to see it to admit Jimbo was a fraud. I knew I
was with you the entire
I meant the
time.
general public.
Okay.
The general public. Yeah. But everybody else that were picking them for the playoffs. Why? Because they hadn't seen it. They had not seen it. See, he gets his benefit of the doubt and all his book. Listen, man, it was, no assistant has ever beaten Saban until Jimbo. Jimbo did what? He a dude, man. He a dude coaching some other dudes playing a sport. He is not holy. But See, even you might, I don't know, man. You might give him enough time. The same thing we heard after what was it, Notre Dame in 2012. Man, you can't give Saban 4 weeks until 2018 when Clemson, they took him to task. Well, I mean, he only had 10 days. That's why. Shut up, man.
Listen, man, it's Sunday, bro. The Bible says faith is the evidence of a substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. That's what my faith is about. I have faith that they would have gotten toe up somehow.
Listen,
I have faith.
I am of the exact opposite opinion. I want them to keep believing that it's true, that they're not on the decline, and watch them slowly fade into oblivion as Nick Saban's career goes into its twilight. I'm actually more excited about watching them next year lose 3 games.
Yeah,
and the year after that, lose 4 games.
And
then all of a sudden, they're going to look up. Nick Saban's going to retire, and their program's not going to look the same. I'm actually more excited about that.
And can we stop
slowly?
And then you can hire Kiffin.
Wait. Can we stop saying that Georgia is the new Bama? Can we stop that?
I'm not saying that.
It's going around to it. Georgia is the new Bama.
I think Georgia.
I think Georgia is something different. I think there's something different. And now, mind you, Bama had an unprecedented run. I mean, they still may be in the midst of it. We don't know.
They're not.
Right. But I will tell you, I think what Georgia has done on defense 2 years in a row has been unreal. Yeah. I don't think that Alabama has had a 2-year run on defense. Now, that 2012 defense was something nasty.
The 11 was the nasty one. The 12 dropped a little bit. But.
Okay, yeah. But this 2-year run on defense that they've had in Athens is insane. It's really good. And he did it with a bunch of guys who are definitely going to be coming back next year. Mm-hmm. He did it without their best defensive player, who was likely a first-round draft pick over the back half of the season. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Georgia is the new Bama. Like, listen, again, that's another way for them to say we are the standard. You are no longer the standard, right? What you hope to take Georgia out because they're king now. Now that hurts me, man, because I don't really like Georgia that much. But sometimes you can just be appreciative of greatness when you see it and say, hey, it might be a while before we see another team this good on defense for 24 straight months.
For sure. And in the era of offense that we're in, that's why it's way more impressive than 2011 and 12 to me.
Yeah. Right. This Georgia team, to me, was way more impressive than last year's Georgia team. Because Stetson Bennett is a better quarterback.
You don't have to rely on your defense the way you probably did last year.
Yeah, they can beat you a myriad of ways. Yeah. Whatever way they have to beat you, that's how they're going to beat you. Whether it's y'all didn't realize the field goal was live after the block, or I mean, they just look like a team kind of we're of destiny. Like, we're going to make it happen no matter what. So I don't know if they lose. I don't know, man. Like, I cape for the conference. So, like, I don't want to see Michigan or Ohio State or any of them, and their fans have not been nearly as obnoxious as Bama fans have been over their run. If you ask,
don't worry. That's because they're new to it. They're
new to it. It's coming.
Yeah, they're inheriting that Stetson Bennett energy right now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm just it. Georgia is doing something great. I think we can all appreciate that. Kirby, I know he came from the Saban coaching tree, but
they're going to still try to
stop saying he's Bama made.
Right, yeah, but let's be real. He's a better coach than Saban right now. He has been for the last 2 years. He's a better coach than Saban right now.
I'm looking forward to having this conversation about Nick Saban versus Kirby Smart so much. I'm looking forward to this so much. I need a Bama person to come on the Amen Corner, because I got a Georgia person. I just really want to have that conversation so badly.
It ain't gonna matter, baby, because there's a freeze warning in Lee County next year. They're all going down to the fro zone.
Keep working on it, Mike. Keep working on it. I like the direction, though. I like the direction. Lawrence Robinson says, I'm paying for these rants. Reggie says, Ike, there's a cease and desist email in your inbox from Nick Saban.
He's that petty.
Hilarious.
He's that petty. That petty.
Yeah. Steve Valentine, while we were ranting, called them bums.
They are.
Black Wing says, y'all should have seen that Bama's players TikTok. Have y'all seen this?
I mentioned it. That was at the top of my rant. Yes.
In T-Pain voice?
Yeah.
We got something to prove. He got something to prove. Shut up.
That was so
Prove
sad.
that you
That
need
was
to
already
get
so
off
proved it.
TikTok
embarrassing.
and be.
You
Yep.
already proved it.
Y'all remember that clip when Kobe Bryant RIP, he was on a talk show, and this when the Lakers were terrible, right? And then so what they did, he had missed some games, and he was on this talk show on a Friday night, and then they showed him a clip. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel, and they showed him a clip. The Lakers had won
Oh, yeah.
a game,
Yeah.
and the young kids were all like, "Yeah, baby, we won." They was all hype or whatever, and then they won like less than 20 games. It's like the end of the season,
Mhm.
and then so the TV goes off, and it comes back to Kobe, and he's like, "Celebrate this." It was so disappointing to him to be celebrating that pitiful performance of the terrible season, to see Bama fans crying and smiling, or excuse me, the Bama players crying and smiling and singing, "Please let," like this man singing, begging like Jodeci. You weren't even alive when Jodeci was hot, man. You begging like Jodeci? So this is real despair. This is from his heart.
Jodeci.
Like stumping for playoffs. Like it's so sad. That makes me happy. I am not gonna lie. That made me happy. Saban sounding stupid with these dumbass arguments on TV made me happy. Them not making it made me happy, but seeing them get dismantled would have been just
Jodeci. That was some weird baby making music, wasn't it? Jodeci. Girl, please just let me get a piece. I promise.
Every time Mike mimics some singing, it sounds the same. No matter who he mimics, it sounds the same.
Yeah, that's the only pitch I know.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Jodeci. Oh my god, I can't believe you pulled out the Jodeci on it.
Never make love to that. Reggie says Paul Feinbaum's show is going to be on fire tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Paul, they should have put us in there, Paul.
PAWL.
Paul, how can you let a team down there? Paul, TCU. What is a TCU, Paul?
Yeah. Right. They're gonna go down to Lee County and poison something. I know they are. And we're gonna be like, but we wasn't even part of it.
It wasn't us this
Y'all
time.
wasn't this year. Stay out of Lee County.
Darn Auburn fans down there pitching they probably down there rolling Toomer's corner right now, Paul.
I've never been in favor of profiling, but if like we set up state police on 65 and 280 just to like see if you got Bama paraphernalia on and take them to jail or write them a ticket, I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with it.
Lawrence says he's loving these rants. You got a lot of it today.
Hey,
Mike, appreciate you, Mike. Like many, this rant is pure gold. Thank you, sir. Reggie says Stetson has a fade now.
Quavius
the fourth. Reggie is on fire.
The fourth is great.
God.
Reggie's on fire today.
Stefan Urkel.
Walt Taylor says, Mike, you didn't live in Atlanta. Georgia fans have been cocky even when they didn't have anything to be cocky about. UGA are the worst fans, no doubt.
Oh, hey, well, listen, I'm in Columbus now, baby. Let's drive up to Atlanta and just interview some Georgia fans.
They're just gonna bark at you. Don't worry.
We'll go stand in downtown Atlanta and just look for Georgia shirts.
I ain't gonna lie though. Grown men barking at people randomly is a little weird.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's a little weird. I need
and
y'all to
the
find
one
something
kid
to do
that's
with your
like
life.
crawling on the ground and fake peeing on people.
Oh my
Like,
God.
I need you to
like,
find something else to do
Oh
with your
my
life.
God.
I get that you guys are bulldogs and
my
we don't
God.
growl at people randomly and we're tigers. Like I need you to understand. You're 45, sir. Don't do that. You're 45. Stop. You're a grown man that has to go to somebody's corporate office tomorrow, and you're barking at people on Saturday with your face painted red.
He picked that age because ain't none of us 45.
Something. I don't care. I don't care if he's 27. Stop it.
Okay, all right.
Listen, man. Stop. You're grown. Don't bark at people. Are they though?
Paul Mahari. y'all better talk about it on the podcast.
Oh man.
I like to hear that talking about Amen Quarter. Why y'all bark at people? So uncivilized.
Guys, did you want to do
Was that right guard?
Yeah.
anything less would be uncivilized?
Yeah.
Oh
Great.
man. He's so uncouth. Oh,
Yeah.
Big boy is so
Now
disrespectful.
that's my favorite one there. That's uncouth. That's my favorite one.
So disrespectful.
Elite vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we spent a lot of time on Bama. Did you guys want to talk
They
about
deserved
any of yours? Or do we want to just get on out of here?
Listen, man, at the end of the day, right? Auburn is in a, I mean, I struggled when Harsin came in about whether it was actually a rebuild or not. I think he kind of turned it into a rebuild, but I wasn't sure that it was an actual rebuild. I got a kind of the same energy here. I think there's enough talent here for Hugh Freeze to go out and win some big games next year. But he's got to be the quarterback guru that he claims to be.
For sure.
Guys, listen, he bragged about it.
Yeah,
He bragged about quarterback development and how quickly he can turn a program around. So now you got to go out there and show us. You can't pull a Jimbo on us. I will not accept a 3-9 season or 4, whatever the math is, 8 from this coach. Nope. They got 5 this year. You got to get 6 to 8. And you got to look good, in some of them losses, so that there is clearly something we can look at and say they're trending the right direction. He's got to head in the right direction. So-and-so is going to be dangerous next year. Did we hear any word on whether Tank is? I kind of heard that Tank may be considering a bag to come back.
Considering, I don't think there's anything definitive yet, but I think it's going to be more so about what draft stock. So,
right.
We
So
still
we might
probably
have
have a
a
while.
months. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: it's time. It's beyond time to get behind this coach. There were a lot of people who had moral issues with the hire. Hell, listen, I was one of them. I had concerns, and for those people who feel like they were going to boycott or do, that's your right. That's your right to do that. I do not feel that you have the right to tell other people how they should feel about simply watching and supporting their school and their football team. No matter how you feel about Hugh Freeze. So get behind these kids, man. Like, all these people preying on his downfall so hard. It's not just him, man. It's a lot of people whose downfall you're preying on that don't really have anything to do with this.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to see one man fail so bad that I'd be willing to see so many other people who are innocent bystanders get hurt by his failure.
What's the difference between you and him if you're at that point?
Correct. That's all.
If you're taking a moral high ground, Mike just hopped off. If you're taking a moral high ground,
that didn't seem like.
Why would you? Why would you resort to that extent? Is my point. Anything else, Mike?
No, that's it. Like, let's turn our attention towards. We're not getting a bowl game. Let's turn our attention towards making sure that we project an environment that is attractive to recruits and coaches alike. Right? At some point, I mean, that Auburn family, that mantra that we tout has to mean something. It has to continue to mean something.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just think, hey, man, listen, they hired him. He's here. Find a way to cheer for him or do what you're going to do, but just get on one side or the other. And don't tell anybody they should join you.
Right.
On whatever side you're on.
Well said. Well said. Ben Bloodworth says, can we stop and appreciate the Bizarro Tigers? Clemson aren't even in the conversation anymore. They got themselves to blame for that by losing to South Carolina. So
they'll be in the SEC in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, DJU, he wasn't it. And it's wild because Clemson really had an unprecedented run where the only year they had where a quarterback that couldn't take you to the ship was Kelly Bryant 17? 17. Deshaun Watson left 2017, Kelly Bryant. And that's why the next year they were like, as soon as Trevor Lawrence looked like he could get it, yeah, you sitting down, Brian. Sorry, man. They didn't play with it. They knew that they need that quarterback. DJU was highly touted. He was supposed to be that guy. There was two. They came out the same year, DJU and Bryce Young, both from Cali. Both came across the country to play ball. One was it, one was not. And honestly, I feel like that's it. Like you're gonna play the guy. He looked like the guy in that year. What was it, 2020? Well, he played that one game against Notre Dame for him, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, we got the guy. So I see why they thought he was that dude. But you put a dude on the field long enough, defenses look at him, man. Very soon you find out if he's that dude or not. And he wasn't. And I feel like so many programs are really down to, yeah, but is your quarterback that dude? And if you're not winning no championships, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Straight up.
Yeah.
That's why Hugh's declaration of his quarterback expertise is important.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we want to get a championship conversation, you got to start producing championship quarterbacks. That's it. If he just does what he did with Malik, we'll win some games this year.
For sure. Joe Kyle says, another great show. Thanks for all your hard work, football intelligence, humor, and strong value systems. Thank you, Joe, for your support as always.
We love Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
If you want to continue to support us as a patron, I can tell you how you do exactly that.
Yeah, man. Y'all can come on in here and get us $5.99, and we'll get out here and do all of the work necessary to bring you wonderful content throughout the week, month, year, all that, man. We're going to keep doing that. $5.99 get you to that place, and we appreciate everybody who's already done that. If you are a member before this live is done, you can jump on in here and gift the membership to somebody else. All you got to do is hit the little gift box down there in the live chat. You have to be on a desktop computer to be able to see that, though. So if you are there, make sure that you go in and click that button and help somebody else get a free month on you. If you didn't win something today, we are going to, have this little website thing up all the time. So thewarreport.com, you can go there, you can purchase something from there and, support us in that way. Maybe you don't have the monthly contribution, but maybe you want to get somebody a really good Christmas gift. Maybe you can get them some War Report merch. Hey, listen, man, we appreciate that. As always, you can check us out on podcast, the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Some great conversations happening there, even some that are not available as rebroadcast from what we're doing here. But you can listen to some of this stuff in audio format. Again, the Auburn Express, everywhere that you listen to podcasts, it is there.
Before we get out of here,
yeah,
Wifey says, my annual Roll Tide comment. It's rough even reading that and saying that. I threw up in my mouth a little bit. Hi, husband, she says.
Yeah, that's my wife, for those of y'all that don't know. Being petty.
She's petty, but again, that's why y'all work so well together. You are petty. Guys, thank you for watching our show. You already know what to do, guys. Please be sure to share our content, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, even Facebook at The War Report. We're TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We will definitely keep you posted as news rolls in as it pertains to staff hires. We'll be here to keep you covered. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.